Hello and welcome to that Pete Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch, with Chris Stark and the Notorious S.I.D.
Again. Enjoying it, mate?
How have we been? You enjoying it?
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
I'm loving it. I'm loving life.
Are you at the stage yet where people come up to you and ask you to rap?
Seriously. No, not yet. No. I've got to a stage where being stopped going, love the pod.
Yeah,
Wicked.
good.
Love that.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
that's good. That's nice to hear.
That's
Whether I'm on the train going up or picking the Luton up from school. Do you know what I mean? Even the kids coming home from school saying, Dad, my teacher said that the pod is awesome and your rap was like off the chart. Like, there you go.
Great.
Dad's got some talent.
Notorious isn't a bad nickname, like, you know, BBQC
No,
or...
when you're in a shopping centre with your children, someone calls you a barbecue cunt.
Wow. Can I just,
you're trying to enjoy a bit of quiet sport somewhere.
and
Someone's screaming pancake in your face. You know,
there's good and bad parts to it. Like, you know.
I don't mind the barbecue thing, actually. I quite like it because what's weird is I get so many DMs from people going, thinking of doing a barbecue this weekend, would love any tips, that sort of thing. Or I want to do some ribs, like what's the best way to do it? Well, like, what's the best rub to use with this bit of meat? But all of them finish with cheers, you cunt. Like, as if this is just now totally normalised.
Yeah.
Did you tell him about Sunday at Wembley?
Oh God! So I was at Wembley Stadium recently in fact, you were there, Pete, as well.
I came. Obviously, he does the summertime ball.
Yeah.
Kids love it. I have to say, big thanks to everyone there for looking after us and you for looking after us. It was brilliant. It was a great day.
Yeah, it is great. And for me, it was my first time doing something at Wembley Stadium that isn't just, going and enjoying the football there. And so yeah, the radio station I work for, Capital, we were doing a concert from there, and I have to host little bits of it. And we do the radio show from the tunnel, which is insane. And then you do a couple of bits on the stage, and you're introing acts. And just before we introed Calvin Harris, right, it's sort of in amongst the crowd of people there. And so there's a big camera in front of me, and it's going to be all over the screens as well. And all I see past the camera, bear in mind, there's loads of kids at this thing, is a phone and barbecue cunts written on. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, this isn't even like, this is a sort of very...
It's a kids' event.
It's a family event. It's a massive concert, 80,000 people, and still one person has got a phone up in the air. It's just unreal, isn't it?
I would like to apologise. That's a conversation between me and you that obviously we broadcast. But I forget we're broadcasting. I'm just ringing you, and then obviously
He's a big fan of the pod, though.
Yeah, but I love the barbecue stuff, and it's cool, and I am, and I embrace being that, and I'd like to think there's other people listening that will join me in solidarity, and we can be barbecue cunts together. But even just the screaming of pancake, it's just so hard to explain to anyone who doesn't listen. So the great thing is you've just got Notorious for now, but wait till someone's leaning out a van window and screaming something you've said back at you, and then you'll know you're fully in.
Yeah,
you're fully in.
Well, I'm fully invested now and loving life. So thanks for having me so far.
It's an absolute pleasure, honestly. Pleasure.
We talked about this in a previous podcast. We talked about the time that you took me to the old Arsenal stadium, took me to Highbury, which is now a block of flats. And you can still kind of go out into the garden there, and the garden is the pitch. So the middle of these flats is what was the old pitch. And the entry to it is obviously through the tunnel.
Well, Sid started at Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have played at Highbury. You'd have been in that tunnel. It's like the marble halls. It's incredible. Like, and the way they've done those flats and made it exactly how it was. You've still got the marble halls. You've still got the tunnel out, and it feels like the pitch still. It's amazing.
Highbury was great, wasn't it? And that tunnel is tight.
It is. It's a tight old tunnel.
Tight.
And that's what we want to talk about in today's podcast is
gaping tunnels.
Tunnels.
These tunnels, yeah.
Yeah. Name of this
Do you like a
episode.
tight one, Steve?
If it's not tight, it's not right, Pete.
Yeah.
I don't like these modern kind of like, gaping tunnels. So I'm not a huge fan of it.
Well, some of them are sort of vajazzled now as well, aren't they? Like back then, they just served the purpose of a tunnel. Like City's got two-way mirrors. Either side of its tunnel. As if like...
It's like a knock for 'em.
And that's weird, isn't it? That people can sort of... The players... I don't know. Can the players... Because I've never been inside... Man City's, never been inside the Etihad. But when you're watching, is it a two-way mirror? Like, the players can't see back? Can they?
No, you see, this is different. Like, I actually did see. You can see movement in there.
Yeah.
So you can see people pressed up against the kind of
because they go right up to the front, even though they can see from.
Yeah, which is an amazing thing, really. Like, because the tunnel's quite a sacred place. It's like, if it all kicks off, we'll get into it, but it does kick off in there sometimes, and there's a bit of argy-bargy. Usually it's like, wait till I get you in the tunnel when you're on the pitch, and it's like, well, okay, it's all going to kick off, and then you all run down there, and it's like a safe kind of away from the camera kind of environment. It's a bit like the dressing room.
But now it's really not. Do you know what I mean? It's very public and open to everyone, isn't it?
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's
a bit weird. It's like it's not sacred anymore.
So I do, as we were just talking about, even recently when I was at Wembley Stadium, we did the radio show from inside the tunnel, and actually I disagreed with the fact that I should be allowed in the tunnel doing the radio. Awesome for me as a fan, but to have Sir Alf, the bust of Sir Alf looking at me the whole way, whilst we were playing Jason Derulo, and
did it live up to your expectation?
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing I noticed with the Wembley Tunnel, we'll get into all of this more on that Tunnels episode, is it slopes up as you go out onto the pitch, right? And it's weirdly intimidating how you can be stood in the tunnel and it kind of slopes out. It's very gladiatorial how you enter the pitch. But that tiny little slope, it just slows you down ever so slightly. I wonder how much that plays with your mind, those kind of things. Or if it doesn't at all.
Well, listen, we'll get into that, right?
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
So already, get thinking, everyone. What's your favourite tunnel? And we're going to be discussing, different types, tight, loose, big, small, different colours, different shapes. And that's what this podcast is going to be today. Before we get into the tunnel stuff, though, Crouchy, lots of people want to know how Luke, our listener...
Lucas Enrique.
As we're now calling him, who went out in Jose Enrique's shoes. It was his big night. At the time of recording this podcast, it hasn't happened, sadly. So we're going to have to reflect it in the next podcast that you hear. But it's happened technically.
Yeah, so it has happened. Yeah. He's still obviously missing in action. We don't know, not had contact with him yet. So we'll find out on the next episode. We'll have a full update on the Jose Enrique experience and see how Luke got on.
Saw a couple of things on social, so it'll be interesting to see how he's got on.
Right, so I reckon we should kick off with a couple of messages because we never get round to them. So let's do them at the start.
Okay.
So do you want to take one?
Right, message from Alex. Chris, I thought you'd be interested to know that Texas University are running a course on barbecuing that teaches history, cooking methodology, flavourings and seasonings. Is that up your street?
Yeah, I think so. I'm kind of a believer in just doing, though. Do you know what I mean? Like,
could you teach there? Like, if Texas University were hiring...
Right, here's the thing. Have you got an honorary degree?
Well, I've got GMVQ in leisure and tourism.
Yeah, but has a university not given you a degree at some point? A lot of celebrities get
to
this.
A-levels GMVQ.
Yeah, I think you're missing the point. What about you, Sid? Have you got an honorary degree?
No.
No. See, that's odd. No, I paid for my degree, didn't I? I went to university. I didn't get... I've got a big thing. I don't understand why celebrities get given honorary degrees, because it's a bit like, well, you're famous, so we're just going to give you a degree.
I've been asked to speak at Cambridge.
Shit. So did they give you a degree?
Well, I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't?
No, but...
Turn it down.
Well, I didn't turn it down. I just didn't, I was asked to speak and I couldn't do it.
Oh, right.
But maybe I should.
Well, what I'm saying is...
Would I get a degree out of it?
Potentially. Like, a lot of unis, they choose certain people and then you go and do a little talk there and then you get a degree. So you'd both become Bachelor of Arts or something. You get a degree in... I mean, Sid, what would you like a degree in? Rapping. music,
Lyricism.
Lyricism.
poetry.
Just made a word up.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd just love a degree full stop.
Yeah, so you'd take anything, even if it's a slightly rubbish degree.
Yeah.
Well, like
Yeah.
sociology or
So,
something.
yeah, something like that.
Do you get like? Is that when you
Yeah,
get?
everyone does that,
Is
don't
that-
they? It's like, what the fuck you do with that?
If you get a degree, is that when you get like some letters before your
Yeah.
name?
After.
After.
Before is if you get
An
like
MBE.
knighted or
Yeah.
Oh no, I suppose that's only if you're a sir. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're going for that sort of thing.
Okay.
How's
Sid-
Beck's getting on with that?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
did talk about that, didn't we? At the time
And
of
he clearly
recording,
closed
he still hasn't got one.
No.
But I think it happens twice a year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The honours list, and every year they shithouse him. Every
We just
6
talked about
months,
last time.
Yeah.
You know, like Beck's is obviously, he was saying obviously like really wants one.
he's gagging for
Desperate.
it. He's gagging for a knighthood, Sids.
You can tell when it builds up to it. He comes to the surface there, doesn't
Yeah, the man queued for 12 hours or whatever it was. He does that. He does everything. He does everything that technically, for what it's worth, I do think if when you see the list of people who have them,
Probably should
I
have
think
one by
I
now.
think he should have one.
Yeah.
But they're clearly going, like, it's been brought up. Someone's going, what about David Beckham? So that someone's going, nah.
he? He's blackballed.
We're
You
not
saying
gonna-
he's blackballed?
I'm saying they're doing it for a laugh to keep him coming to these events and things like that. It's a carrot that's being dangled. And maybe one day when he does get it, we can have a party in his honour.
yeah. We should do
A
actually.
million percent.
What I'm getting at very quickly, with the honorary degrees is universities would do it. And I'm sure there'll be people who work in universities listening to this right now who see an opportunity to get you both to go to their universities, do a talk, and they're happy to just fucking throw you one of
Really?
a degree that I had to spend tens of thousands of pounds on. Do you know what my degree was in?
No, I don't
Oh, I'm just hesitant to say. Politics.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you did a
Politics.
degree and what you passed it
Yeah. 2-2.
2-2.
Desmond.
Politics wanker. Are you a Are you?
Sorry.
Wow. John. He's gone.
He's gone. We've lost our producer. He's not heard the Desmond
He's
shout.
not heard that one.
Loves that, doesn't he?
See that he's gone. Wow.
So you've gone. Wow.
You think everyone's
So
heard that?
you basically drew your degree.
2-2,
Yeah,
yeah. It wasn't a
2-2.
loss.
You got
Wasn't,
2-2.
wasn't a win in my parents'
Well,
eyes. I
Isn't
don't
that
think it
2-1
was.
better?
2-1.
Yeah,
So
if you-
really,
we've
it
won,
goes
3
first. 2-1 would be a win.
So first is so obviously bear in mind I didn't do.
Okay, here's first
This.
is a win, clean sheet.
So win with a clean sheet is a first 1-0.
2-1 is a win. Could have potentially
You've
tipped it into a
conceded.
draw.
Conceded.
You've got away with it. Everyone's happy. It's a good result.
Everyone's happy.
but,
You've
you
got
know,
away with it too. 2-2.
2-2. I count that as a draw. It really, no one's going to respect you at 2-2.
Right.
But equally, it's enough on a CV just to get you through the door. Do you know what? In most places,
Yeah. You didn't
But
lose.
going below that, a third and that,
We've lost
you're
3-2.
having to explain yourself.
Yeah.
So
Politics. What do you learn?
So when you're at parties, because obviously or even barbecues, it always goes on to politics, doesn't it? Someone always brings it up. Are you Are you a politics wanker?
No, not really. Nice try, Sid.
He's learning well.
Political pricks.
Are you a
Apologetic.
Politic. Are you a politic at a party? But can you hold your own with the other politics?
No, I did politics because I didn't feel there was anything else I could do at uni. So I did politics because I studied it. It was one of the things I studied at A-levels. And I was all right at it. But it's more because things in politics annoy me so much that I found I wanted to learn about it. So I don't support a particular team.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Generally, everything annoys me.
Yeah. Well, I get that. With
We're venturing into politics.
Yeah,
now,
we are.
aren't we?
But you know what? They're right. It's like the We Are Politics podcast is really successful, and I think if we can branch out into their market as well, we'll do really well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That could be a sub-brand that we...
Listen, you've done it in Buckingham Palace. I think why not Downing Street?
branch into
Well,
that.
do you know what?
Yeah.
Politicians do parches, Sids. There's actually been politicians who do try and get on this podcast, and there's some that we like, and it's not because of what party they're for, and there's some that we just know are trying to get on because they want to get out to everyone listening. Basically,
I think there'd be a long list of parched politicians.
We've had people. We've actually been mentioned in the House of Commons. Haven't
Yeah, we
like,
did.
You know, in Crouch Fest. You went to
That's
Crouch Fest.
mad. Did you ever see this?
No,
Incredible.
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, basically, what happened is they brought it up in the House of Commons. They were like, whoever it was, I can't
During
remember the
COVID.
name. To be fair play to them. They were one of the good ones, I think. At the time of recording, I think that's correct. And what he did is it was during lockdown and COVID, and he was saying everyone's looking forward to festivals opening, and everyone needs to be getting back stronger soon, and we want Crouch Fest. Basically,
Love that.
in the House of Commons.
That will bring that will unite the country.
Yeah.
There we
Brilliant,
are.
wasn't it?
We've been talking about politics far too much.
One last comment on politics.
Yeah.
Is it feels like football teams. You know, like if you always don't want to say who you support, because when you do, you're going to get absolute pelters no matter which way you go with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
I think what I'd like us to do is, when it comes to election time, for example, is you don't get one prime minister candidate on. We get each of them on. Do you see what I mean? So they each get equal amount of time on here. We become the new sort of. They all get a chance on it.
They're pitching.
They're pitching. Yeah. And then we just take them as they come. Do you know what I mean? Rather than getting one on, which could be tempting for us because they have asked.
Or we
Watch
just
your
stay
space.
away from it all, you know what I mean, and get Sean Wright Phillips on.
Yeah. Which actually
Probably makes
works
more
better.
sense.
Sorry, just to round this off, the reason I say about honorary degrees is because this uni in Texas, I would love, and I'm going to say it, just put this out into the world, or any uni listening, if I could get an honorary degree in some sort of barbecue thing, I would absolutely fucking love that.
Love that, yeah.
So I just want to put that out there. If you are listening and want a cynical opportunity to get some publicity for your university, please use me.
I love that. And abuse you.
It's fair enough, isn't it?
All right, let's try and get you a win 2-1, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If I could get a win of a degree and
you'd
call
take
my
that.
mother and tell her, don't worry about the other one.
Don't worry about the other one.
I've got a 2-1 in barbecuing.
Yeah.
All right, boys, should we get into this then? The question I've got written down in front of me here that we're going to be discussing today, what makes a good tunnel? That's going to be the starting point for this podcast. But I think what we want to get into is some of your experiences and stories of some of these big matches, and they all start there.
Do you know, you've been involved in some weird tunnels. Obviously, there's a theme here. It's going to make us laugh throughout, so bear with us.
This will be the most childish episode
apologies,
of that
'cause every
Peter
time
Crouch
we do say tunnel,
podcast.
we are laughing, and I apologise for that.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is Craven Cottage, Griffin Park, right? You've been you were Highbury even.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what I can't remember. Reading was quite new, the Majeski, wasn't it? But
new
those, I mean,
stadium.
if you think about Fulham's tunnel, Brentford's tunnel, and Highbury, they are really
Well,
kind of
Fulham
like
haven't really
tight.
like the Fulham's tunnel is short and sweet.
Right. Well, don't you enter through?
But that's a weird one. You're outside.
Fulham's one is
Yeah, but
like,
you're cottaging, aren't you?
You're cottaging.
I think, aren't you? Don't you go via the cottage?
Yeah, so
or-
but there's obviously a tunnel beforehand, isn't there? Because you're both in the dressing rooms next door to each other. So they're about 2 meters long. So you're straight out, then you're in between the two stands. So it's not really.
So
that must be the.
you're not in the
only-
cottage. You're not out the cottage.
That must be the
You're not in a
only-
tunnel, but you are in a
That
tunnel.
must be the only outdoor tunnel.
That's what I mean. It's al
Well, if
fresco.
that blows your mind. That's a bit.
It's an outie.
If a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, it's like if the tunnel has if you're outside but walking in formation, is it even a tunnel? Do you know what I mean? If you're outside like that, can you even?
But
call
they
it
have got a tunnel, but it's that short kind of. You know when they they can extend or.
I like them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those, right? But they don't really extend it because it's still. Let's be honest, there's not much bottle throwing from the cottage. So
They do that one at Vicarage Road as well. It's just a little sort of
little kind of
hooded bit over the
hooded
front
bit.
of the
Yeah.
tunnel.
Yeah,
that's
so you
just
come
sort
out of
of-
the dressing room, out the house, which is basically a house at Craven Cottage. I've not been in the home one. I'll be honest, I've only been in the away one. Obviously, you can enlighten us. But you come out of the house and then you're outside, just waiting there as if you're in a tunnel. Al fresco.
Al fresco tunnel.
No, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
What
It
is the
It's one
purpose
a
of the
kind.
extent? I've never even questioned it. It's like a sort of sleeve that goes out.
It's because
like-
I think if it's if you're, get sent off or something like that, you can extend it. So
but they never extend. So when someone gets sent off, is it someone's job to quickly extend the tunnel?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't think I've ever noticed that.
I think there will be an
You'll be surprised. You know what? You'll be surprised. You'll be
Yeah.
surprised at how many grounds that it's there. So Wolves, I think they've got the longest
Extendable tunnel.
retractable tunnel.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a long way when you come out there. Do you know what it is? What makes a tunnel for me is when you come out of each dressing room and then you're standing there, it's literally the smell. Like it's like Vicks, Vaseline, and someone, you'll be surprised, but someone always drops their guts as well.
Is that a power
But
play?
I've got a thing, before a game, that kind of nervous energy, right? I'm glad I've retired because of this. Like, I don't know how you felt, but like that kind of nerves before a game.
Was that you dropping your guts?
Yeah, but I had to. Like, I'd always go to the toilet like before a game. Just that kind of nervous energy, like the tunnel. It's fine when you get on the pitch, but that kind of stuff beforehand.
But that's what I'm saying. So you're doing that whilst the other team are next to you. So the smell was horrendous, and everyone's like, "Who is that?" It's like,
or do you just front it up because you've got to face forward? And do you believe in conversation when you're in the tunnel?
I'd say hello, and that was it. But focus on the game, then speak after, but not before. Not for me.
Not for that one, like swapping shirts. And I didn't do it really much at full time, let alone like kind of half time. I wouldn't even dream of it. It was like, I'm with Roy Keane on this one, I'll be honest. I get that thing of being too friendly before a game. You're going into battle, you know?
Well, they say games can be won in the tunnel, don't they? And a bit like when we're at that Highbury tunnel, and it is tight. But as you both... It's tight, but as you both go out, what I always think about that famous footage of Roy Keane going through is almost he can get the elbows in as well, and force his way out.
That's it. If you're in front first, it's a show of authority as well. In the tight ones, Pompey was tight. Portsmouth was.
Have you ever got
tight.
stuck in the tunnel, just where like the other team have come out with force and you're just there?
Probably.
Not Pompey, were you told to come out with a bit
Portsmouth, obviously, it was so old school. You'd go underneath and then you'd walk through, and then the home one was before, and then the away one was down. But you walk. It's like a one man kind of walk.
Yeah,
like you couldn't go 2 by 2. Do you know what I mean? It was like one after the other, bizarrely. And then once you get in the tunnel, you can split a little bit the two teams. But if you came out together, it was like after you, like you'd have to only one person could go through. And watching AC Milan when we got into the UEFA Cup, watching Ronaldinho and Paolo Maldini walk into Fratton Park it was just amazing. It was like.
How did they do that? I can't remember. So would they do one team first and then the other?
Yeah. So like we'd all just come out, like the ref would blow his whistle. Right, we're all out. And if one would go before you, and then the other would come after.
It's like merging lanes.
Yeah, it was weird. And then
exactly that.
It was like that. Yeah.
But then that's such an opportunity to give him with a bit of confidence.
You come out the tunnel like lemmings.
Well, it's the first win, isn't it? Potentially.
Yeah.
If you all get out before the other team.
Yeah. If you can get in front of your marker, I think you're setting a stall out early doors, aren't you?
Stall out. But you know what? It's like little things that it's not. Probably what it was. Like obviously you hear about the crazy gang and obviously like all their antics in the dressing room and antics in the tunnel, that kind of thing. But it was. I mean, did you ever have a fight in a tunnel?
No, I've never had a fight. But Watford was the worst team that I heard in the tunnel.
For what?
Do you remember when was it Danny Shitu and Micah Hyde or Mika Hyde?
Yeah,
that team was like 05, 06. You go out there and it was like. It was like the crazy gang. They tried to be that sort of authority.
But they
local.
They were quite a hard team. Like that was just as I was really getting into them as a supporter.
They tried to win the game in the tunnel. It was like, it's our time. It's work time. Like dog of wars. Like, and I'm like, dog of war. Like,
who was the forward?
Going out to play.
Heider Helgeson?
No. Gifton Noel Williams.
One of my favourite players ever.
I mean, he was good at Watford, wasn't he, right?
Yeah, I loved him.
Yeah.
I loved that guy. Well, and recently it's lovely when you can go do stuff with the club and I get to see him a little bit. I've still got the picture that I got him to sign when I was younger. What a legend.
Yeah, mate, I remember him there, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
So they
I'm sorry about Watford's tunnel, mate. I just always thought it was quite
a team, really. They tried to win
tunnel.
it there. But I never had a fight. I never had like... There'd be the odd one that was going down the tunnel, words and trying to, separating people, but there was no... I remember hearing one, Bobby Zamora was at West Ham. I think they played Sunderland. Do you remember West Ham? It goes down You come out. You come off the pitch. You go downstairs. Then it goes square. Then it goes back upstairs. So there's a little bowl at the bottom, and it all kicked off in there.
Down there. Do you remember the one with Turkey and England?
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? They had a camera in there.
Camera.
You could see there's a few punches thrown.
Yeah.
Heskey and
Yeah.
I think Heskey threw a punch. I love it. It's just
Well, it's that moment before you go on the pitch and the noise. This is the one thing that I just can't. Like, even being at Wembley recently, I can try and imagine it the best I can, but I don't know what it sounds like for a stadium to be full in some sort of very important game and to be stood in a tunnel and what that noise sounds like of fans and the music. I mean, talk us through what's the one experience that comes to mind for you, Sid, being in that sort of intensity of being in the tunnel and maybe nervous.
For me, it was you can't wait for the whistle. Like, so you block everything out. So you're just literally focused on outside. You're literally looking at the grass. You can see the turf. You can see the fans in the away stand, and you're just visualising getting out there, getting ready to, as you say, go to war or, you know, go to work. But you it's kind of like the first couple of times you do it, it's great because it's new, it's a novelty. And then it just wears off. It's like playing in front of 60,000 for your first time, and then that wears off. As bad as it sounds, but it just becomes part and parcel of your working life. That makes sense. But the tunnel itself, it should be sacred. I don't like people seeing in cameras in there. Man City, it getting wider now. Villa Park, how wide is Villa Park? Is huge.
But that's always been like that. Like that, it's like that's where the semi-finals used to be. It's like it's carpeted and. I don't know, it just elevates Villa as a club, do you know what I mean? You go down there and it's like you feel
I think Villa Park should still be hosting semi-finals.
Oh, it's just such a special place to play football.
Yeah.
Like we both had the opportunity to play there, and it's so wide, but it feels like a Wembley, you know, and it's because it's got the history that it's got, Villa. It feels okay. You know
When will that happen? Do either of you two know? Is it just semi-finals at Wembley for forever now, or is there going to be a point
as soon as they built
where
the new Wembley, I think they had to pay for it, right? so
all
all
of
of a sudden the semi-finals are there, everything's there.
Yeah.
But it was
that semi-final trip to Villa Park was so special.
As football fans, right, in that era,
Yeah.
how good was Villa Park, Old Trafford?
And you turn up and it looked amazing from the outside as well. It had the whole experience. If you're not there every week, you know, there's Villa fans listen to this, obviously get to enjoy it every week, but it was so special as a fan to be able to turn up there. Two different teams that play there normally had that feel and look about it, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know when you play like grassroots kind of level, right? Do you have like, I'm trying to think, because obviously we haven't done it for so long. Like, what do you do before a game? Do you all just get on the pitch, or do you actually do you do like?
Well, there was always like the pavilions. Oh, do you mean the routine on the pitch? Well, I think it depends what you're doing.
Do you all just go on the pitch and just?
Yeah, well, I just get on the pitch now. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just a kickabout, really.
There must be loads of people that probably take it more seriously.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know what, we're going to do this walkout?
Yeah. The walkout. I mean, they're not holding kids or anything
not?
on the way out. I don't think. I don't know when that starts. I don't know what level that starts.
What level do you start bringing kids on the pitch?
You know when you get handed. You know when you get handed the kid in the tunnel, right? Have you ever been in a situation where you've been done on the stag do one? That's my favourite. Where they get
you get a dwarf attached to you?
No.
Handcuffed.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I get what you mean. Like the lads have put him in for that's recent, isn't it?
Child, Garner's stag do in the full kit.
I've seen
child.
That's recent. There's the man had done that, and he had to even wear his like suit shoes that he come in.
Yeah,
that he didn't even know that he was part of the mascot.
And then he's got to go do a kick around on the pitch before with the other children. And he's been signed up to do it.
Amazing.
Some clubs do it. I don't think they've done it in the Premier League yet, but I would love to see it.
That is amazing.
And then especially if they get paired with a slightly shorter football player.
Well, I've seen that before quite a few times where you have to put the mascot kind of to the side, you know, because usually they're in front of you for like the Champions League.
Tall children really bug them.
They're that tall, so he's got to just move him to the side and like basically do the child.
It's because the camera goes.
Where's his kid? Oh, he's the camera.
But it looks like
it was a new signing.
The camera goes across and it's football player, child, football player, because the player's shorter than the kid.
Yeah.
That's the difficult one, because when you come out and there's someone that obviously looks after the mascots, and they're the ones that go, they grab they guide you to the mascot, and if it's a big child, you don't know whether to hold their hand or
we should have asked Sean
shoulder.
About it.
It is a well, I'm sure Sean has had some big ones.
Yeah, definitely. He must have. But then what I want to know is, are you allowed to swap kids in the tunnel?
Oh, you can't. No way. You cannot stop a child. You're breaking child's heart.
No, but I've seen it happen the other way. I've seen a kid crying because he's holding the wrong player's hand, and he's like, "No, I didn't want you." And you can see it. They're crying their eyes out. You go on and have Stevie.
Stevie's walking out with 10 kids.
Down to Bex, son. Bex has got kids all over him like that.
Yeah, all the kids want Bex. So poor Bex has got like 5 kids outside, 5 kids outside.
There's kids everywhere.
Yeah. But I do wonder with the kids when they find out what player they're getting, or is it assigned? Because in the tunnel, do you line up in a certain? But in the tunnel, can you be in any order? So you just come out and be.
So players will have a superstition of. Some players will want to go out last. When I was at Reading, my shirt number was 4, so I wanted to be number 4 for some reason walking out, and then I lost that really after I lost that shirt number. Not lost it, but didn't get it again. But you can choose where you want to go. Did you have a superstition of what?
Yeah,
number?
No. I was just
wherever.
I'd always go out towards the back. I'd never been behind the goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? Like you got captain, goalkeeper. Parched, right?
Yeah. It is in that order, isn't it?
Literally,
you're right.
Captain, goalkeeper, parched, right? Always, right? Like throughout the history of time. So like, I would always be kind of 7, 8 deep, and I wouldn't be last because that's a bit twatty as well.
Last, I think you're looking for that final shot of the camera that then follows the last player onto the pitch.
Of course, it's like the kind of the best player. It's like Ronaldo, or like you'd always come out like. There's a stigma behind being last, right? I didn't want to be that guy, but sort of around. It's like the back of the bus.
Where's the back twat?
It's like you're the back twat, yeah. I've never been the back twat.
Well, you're right, and I think it is often the flashier player is the Batman.
The flashiest, the white boot guy is backstick always, And he'll come out and he'll do something religious, and he's not religious.
Does that bug you in the tunnel?
He's never religious. He's never prayed in his life. But he comes out, he grabs the grass, he crosses himself, and he looks up at the sky.
Yeah. I tell you what was great in the tunnel as well was when United played Wolves. Ince was captain of Wolves. So Roy Keane was there, Rude, Rio, Scholesy, they're all there, all lined up. All the Wolves are there.
This is when he tries to be nice, right?
No, Ince's taking his time. He's not out yet. So
I've seen this, yeah.
So Keane just goes, we're going. And he just runs out. They run out at Molineux and they just leave him. The referee tries to stop him and they just go.
Surely it's ref first, isn't it?
No, they just run past him. And then Ince comes out at the end like with his top, because he's had that superstition of putting his top on, and they just walked out. And Keane was like, fuck this, we're going. I'm not waiting for him. And he just went.
Do you get told in the tunnel what's about? Because sometimes there's a lot of ceremony, isn't there? There's either like a memorial thing you've got to do, or some sort of respect thing you've got to do, or captain's got to hand something to another player, or you've got to receive a politician or a dignitary. Do you get told this in the tunnel, or is this because sometimes the routine before is quite
so you'll have a heads up beforehand.
It's quite a big rigmarole, isn't it? Like there's a lot going on.
It's a bit distracting from surely a focus.
How did you find the minute silence? How did you cope with the minute silence? Like, because I was so pumped. You're so pumped up, right? Yeah. And then you go there, and then you have to be silent and not move.
Then the roar after is great, isn't it?
It's a buzz. That's a buzz.
So go silent, and he's dead silent. It's dead silent. Obviously, you look at the ground, or you're looking up, and you're looking at the players opposite and the ref, and all of a sudden, when that whistle blows, the whole roar. Especially,
you find the silence more stressful because there's always one. There's always one that's going to just. I always worry about the one that's wandering in from the bar. I just get anxious.
That. But you know that. I think that's acceptable because there's a load that you can hear the murmuring from the bar that don't know it's the minute silence, and then they come up shouting a bit, and then. But like majority of the time I've done a minute silence, it's usually been respectful. I'd like to think it is the odd place, but it's not been good. But you must have it as a fan, right? That kind of when the whistle goes, like it does go 10 times louder.
I love that roar.
What it would be if it's the game started.
If you did applause, you wouldn't have that roar.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you do get it, but it's not the same effect.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite nice, that minute. Also, it's just a mad situation to have that many people silent. Like, it's kind of special if you think about it.
There's something special about it.
I think a minute's a bit too long, personally.
I don't know. I think it's great. If you think about how short a minute is, right? We sit here and record for 2 hours. We have a load of beers. 2 hours, like 1 minute out of your life to like remember someone who's done something or played for the club or died tragically. It's not a long time.
Would you like a minute's silence or applause?
No, silence. I think. Yeah.
You want the silence, Sid?
Yeah.
I like silence. Is more.
You want
I think it's more respectful. Yeah.
Or is there another option? Is there, right, we're going to take 15 now and everyone go and have a pint? The players are stood there.
The only thing is with that, I don't think anyone would really remember you. You know what I mean? You just go and have a pint like you did pre-game.
It's not, you think they're chatting about you, but they're
not really.
This next segment of the podcast is brought to you by our sponsors, the wonderful guys at Brewdog. So we're on the Punk IPA as always, sliding down nicely. No pun intended.
Very nice.
Have you been on the slide yet?
I have been on the slide today, yeah.
Sid?
I flew down, yes.
Did you fastest speed yet?
No, it's not worthy to come down in jeans. I was just going to say that.
So next time, what will we expect you in? Some sort of...
lycra shorts.
Lycra shorts and a helmet as you go down. We have asked them if what they'll install is like a timer at the top and a timer at the bottom. So you can press it at the top, press it at the bottom, and then there'll be a leaderboard. But they sort of politely smiled and nodded.
It hasn't happened yet, but hopefully we'll get to the bottom.
It'll be there at some point. But yeah, we've been talking about the biggest punks in football, because obviously Punk IPA, punks in football. And we're linking the two. But I was thinking, it isn't necessarily just the players. It could be managers. There's pretty punk managers out there as well, like Pep. And then you've got fan groups as well. Napoli Ultras. Yeah. Where we could go through. I mean, an Ultras episode could be an interesting one, couldn't it?
Yeah. Did you see the Milan fans that got hold of the players? Did you see that one where they give them a talking to and they're actually all listening on the side of the pitch before the Champions League semi-final?
Yes. I guess the question is there a case that the most punk people in football are now off the pitch rather than on the pitch?
Well, there's always a character that you have in like a fan kind of character that symbolises the club. I think of like Portsmouth.
The guy with the tattoos and
Westwood, and he's got the drum, and he changed his name by Depot to Portsmouth Football Club.
It's the bell, isn't it? Doesn't he ring it the whole way through?
The bell, the bell.
Yeah, what a guy!
You got the Speedo guy at Everton.
Yeah, what a guy! Fundraising
awesome.
Legend.
What a legend! Like the Speedo guy.
I think you're right. I think every football club has this one character. Maybe it's the kind of person we could shine a light on as well on this podcast.
Bill Blood. Chelsea.
Yeah, Bill Blood at Chelsea. Like holding up for the masseurs, the punk masseur.
Yeah. They're kind of like, we talk about mavericks, like good mavericks, like people that we should celebrate. And there's definitely at least one per club. So let us know, get in touch with someone that you might like to nominate for that. It's always a good discussion. We're going to do a load of events down here at Brewdog in Waterloo, aren't we, Crouchy?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we'll be here.
Maybe we can try to get one or two along. That'd be good.
Well, it's going to be epic because we're in here and we're recording. And I'll be honest now, things have... Because the podcast has been out, we've told people we're here. There's a lot of people out there now. It's created a bit of carnage in here, and it's going to be more carnage at this event because we're going to do this properly when it's.
Yeah, and we want to do this fairly regularly, and I quite like the idea of featuring different clubs and some of these slightly more maverick people. And bring them down. This can be a place that they can come. So let us know, peter.crouch@acast.com if there's anyone that you'd like to nominate from your football club. Also, connected to that, Brewdog have given us the ability to hand out some free crates of Punk IPA. So if you do want a 48-pack, and we've given away one or two of these so far, of the real stuff, or you can have the no alcohol version, then feel free to send us in a question for Crouchy, a funny story, maybe a nomination of one of these maverick characters from your club, whatever. Put Brewdog in the title of the email so we know it's about that. And you might get chosen to get a crate sent out to you over the next few episodes. We've got a load of these things and we just want an excuse to send them out. But as always, just feed into the podcast. That's what it's about, really. Get involved, your stories, funny things that you've spotted, little discussions that we can have, or you're going to get another episode on Tunnels Part 2, which, to be fair, was one of my favourite episodes that we've done.
Bizarrely, when you look at it on the piece of paper and you think tunnels, you think, how much have I got on that? I could have talked for days on it.
Good.
Like, we haven't even got into the black wall today.
So if you want to avoid that, get in touch with us with something else we should talk about. peter.crouch@acast.com.
What was your favourite tunnel?
That's a big question I haven't really thought about.
Do you know mine?
Considering
He just hit you with a curveball.
I knew we were doing
minute of
this.
silence.
Why you're thinking of that? Do you know what mine was? It's not for two reasons. Old Trafford, right? One of
Special.
them
That is
was
special.
like
Yeah.
so Theatre Dreams.
Is it because it's red as well?
What's that got to do with it?
Well, like you.
I just blended in like a fish finger again. Hey. So Old Trafford, you'd be in the corner and the pitch is obviously elevated. Then you can see that grass and that pitch. But they used to play the Rocky anthem.
Oh,
yeah, you remember when Rocky's training when he's in the gym? They used to play that, and Rocky's my favourite film. So I used to be like, I am pumped. And all of a sudden, I looked to my left or right, whoever side he was on, and then you'd see Rio, Ronaldo, Skulls, Giggs, and you'd be like, let's keep this one down to 3 boys. Come on. that you sort of was brought back down to earth.
I can't imagine.
Like, they could bring you back down to earth. Jesus Christ.
Old Trafford was mine.
No, it's good. Do you know why? Because you come out from the corner and it's like you're really tight in the dressing room. Like, and also they go like one more, don't they? They go again. So they walk past the away one before.
Yeah.
So like you see, like when you come in from the warm up, with doors open, and you're all just sitting there, maybe doing your tie ups, getting your shin pads on. You just see like Keane, Van Nistelrooy, Beckham, Giggs, Scholes, like Rio. And you're like, fucking hell. This is some team I'm seeing.
Old Trafford's a strange one to have to go back into if you've had a tricky half, though, right? Because it's all home fans. Around that corner, and it feels like you're going into that corner.
Yeah, they all just narrow.
It's hard to ignore.
Like you get funneled in, don't you?
Yeah,
and obviously that's a Stretford end that side as well. But that's special without doubt. But like I don't know, there's something I love. Kind of like, QPR when I first started, loved QPR. QPR's like really small, kind of old school ground. Loved it at QPR, and you come up, like you say, and
that is hot in there, that is tight.
Really tight.
Stuffy.
But
what's your favourite song to come out to?
Do you know what I used to love?
What's the moment like? What's the tune?
Wolves is good.
Wolves.
And it's hi-oh, Wolverhampton. That's good.
Do you know what I like? I like Newcastle, right? Because that, for me, it's like the old school kind of like, I don't know if it was the Goal of the Month song. Do you remember on that
Coming Home,
day?
isn't it? Is it the Dire Straits one?
The one...
This is old school, isn't it?
Is like it's old school, right? And you come out and it's what a place St James's Park is. Like that was, I think there was a couple of rumours that I would go there at one stage, and I think of all the iconic kind of number 9s that Newcastle have had, and they didn't have one at the time where it was close to going. And I thought, what a place!
What a club
to go and play football.
Yeah.
Like now when you see them and they're playing, it makes saying about like if you're a football person, mate, Newcastle being good again.
Even as an away fan, climbing those stairs. To be fair, it's good for your health. You do your 15,000 steps going up, and you're far away. And yet, it still feels such a fucking amazing place to watch football.
As a fan, are you aware of the slant of the pitch as much as the players?
Well, no. And honestly,
have you seen the slant of the pitch? You know about the slant.
I know about the slant, but I don't think any football fan gets a real feel for what is on so many pitches. There's so many, and even in the corners, when you go take a corner, I'm always surprised by how little run up you have before it hits a dip.
Yeah.
And how steep that dip is.
Yeah.
For example, at the Emirates, I was so surprised by the corners there, like standing on the pitch. I don't know, this is obviously standard stuff for you boys, but You just think every pitch is totally level.
So different. Like there's obviously the big hill at Newcastle, but I remember Old Trafford. Do you remember from Old Trafford? Like used to have like mad drainage, but like almost like a mound like that in the middle of the pitch. So across from the dugout to the other side, like that, you couldn't see the other side.
Yeah, you couldn't see that. Yeah, you just see the middle of the pitch.
Obviously, it's changed now. It's a lot flatter now, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it used to be like really kind of like.
So at Newcastle, how profound was it then?
What, the slant? It's ridiculous. You can visually notice it on when you watch TV.
Yeah.
So from left to right, if you look at the left-hand corner flag with the stand behind, it's level, and then when it goes down to the right-hand corner flag, the stand is about that much higher than the advertising boards. And Newcastle shoot that way in the second half.
Do you think when a football club moves stadiums that they should change up the song that they go out to, or do you bring that to because it feels like the kind of thing, does that stick with the club or does it stick with the
it should stick
stadium?
With the club, I think. That should stick with the club.
So take Everton, for example. I think it's the same as Watford, Z-Cars, right?
Which is great, another great tunnel.
Yeah. So what about you? Obviously, Burnley, Sean Dyche, you must have had, I've played against these teams a lot, leaves the dressing room doors wide open. Speaker is
that's a bit kind of crazy.
There's a bit of shithousery going on there. I'm talking blazing.
My tunes, I'll be honest with you, I walked into that dressing room and it was like towards the end of my career. And then because I was a little bit older, I was like, fucking hell, turn it down. Well, come on, lads. You know what I mean? Any Fleetwood Mac?
But that's an internal
aggressive dance fucking trance.
That was on purpose, wasn't it?
No,
that was
it's a definite thing. 100%.
But we're forgetting Anfield here.
No, but
listen, you've had a spell there. That sign,
you got touch
people
the sign.
Touching it.
You see, it was special, right? And I did touch the sign, and I was that was one of my most like favourite things to do. I thought, oh my god, I'm signed for Liverpool. I can't wait to touch the sign and go out and play. Like, imagine how many legends have touched that sign. Imagine how many DNA, how much amazing DNA is on that sign, right? I thought, I'm going to do it. I don't know why I said DNA.
DNA down the tunnel.
Lick it or something.
I've watched too much. I've been watching too much Silent Witness, I think. Yeah.
Silent Witness.
Love Silent Witness. Huge fan. But anyway,
so you slap your DNA on there.
I put my hand on it and I had a nightmare. Yeah. Gone. Right, so it's gone for me now. So now I didn't have a nightmare, but I just didn't feel like I was the best player that I could be. So
what do you mean it's gone from you? Sorry, I've missed a bit.
So my first game at Anfield, I touched the sign, which I was desperate to do. Didn't play as well as I wanted to. Spent another 3 years there and didn't touch the sign once after that. I touched it once.
Because you thought it cursed your game a bit.
Because I felt like it didn't. Well, I didn't play great in my eyes, so I didn't touch it again.
But you didn't score for 20 odd games after. You must have touched it.
You're right.
You must have thought I'd touch it after 5 games.
To be fair, though, after 10 games, I probably should have fucking touched it.
You've never touched it since?
No, I haven't. I touched it. I've touched that sign once, and I've played there.
What was it like as a Liverpool fan, as a Liverpool player, when you see the away team touch it? Was it a little bit like, you shouldn't be touching it?
The away team don't touch it.
You can't. Who's the latest one?
Weghorst, right?
Yeah.
So you saw Weghorst.
I didn't see this.
Have you not seen this?
No.
You got battered.
Weghorst is playing for Manchester United, right? He's walking out. Players are all touching it. Anyway, all of a sudden it's like a double. It's like, hold on, who's touched that? Like, it was Weghorst.
Okay, well, this is an interesting
Didn't go down well with the United fans.
Of course, and it's probably the wrong team to play for and do that. But as a football fan, what is the rule here? What were you saying?
Well, there's not a rule to say that the away teams can't.
Yeah, but for any away team.
Well, I think
let's talk about a nice friendly.
Right, well, if we played Havant and Waterloo, right, in the FA Cup, right?
You'd let them touch the sign.
Well, a lot of them haven't played at Anfield. Like, I get that, you know what I mean? They're playing at Anfield, and they're playing quite like a lower level. They might not get to play at Anfield again. They want to touch the sign and say they've touched the sign. That happens,
where do you stand on a Fulham?
If you're at Manchester United, right, you can't.
Okay, not Man United, but what about? Let's go with Luton. Are Luton players allowed to touch the Anfield sign?
Yeah, that's a tough one because it's Premier League. They're Premier League now. Like, for me, Luton is.
But it's amazing that they're in the Premier League.
Incredible.
Right? and it's an
I
amazing
hope they
journey.
don't.
And
I hope they don't. I hope they go there and mix it with the big boys and expect that they should be there. They deserve to be there. They're there.
but you haven't answered the question. Should Luton
go as
play?
far-
I wouldn't mind it as much as if I was playing for Manchester United. I
No, I
would
get the
know.
Man
not-
United.
I'd go
Sids, where are you
as
saying?
far as saying every team that goes there first, that plays at Anfield, one person from that team will touch that sign from the away
What
team.
about as a player?
1,000,000%.
You get to touch the sign once if you're in away. Like you shouldn't get the same privileges as home team. You can't all be asking for good luck from the sign, can you? That's what it's about. You're asking for good luck from the sign.
Yeah, but you know what that sign?
Can't have
do you
the
know-
away
do
team.
you
It's
know
a
what
fucking
that-
home sign.
Do you know what that sign represents, though, right? That sign represents like you're about to get fucking beaten. Do you know what I mean? Like that the way that looks, it looks down on you, going, "This is Anfield now. You're fucked."
Exactly. So you can't, there's no way, you can't be
Exactly.
going through going like, brilliant.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, you're at Liverpool now. Like, you know, you should expect to get schooled out there. I think it's just basically a sign to say that this is a special club, and you know, you think of all the history of the players that have touched that sign.
But when you were playing, would you see other players from other teams touch the sign?
Yeah. Like Sid said,
And
probably.
would you look up and just be like, fuck off?
So that's my sign. That's our
It
sign.
wasn't my
Yeah.
sign. No.
That's our sign.
That's our sign, yeah.
Well, no, I didn't touch it, so nothing to do with me. But no, I listen. You know, Liverpool's a special club, and I think being in that tunnel is special. Think of all what it is it's the history of those kind of clubs.
I just think for you, it's sad that the Liverpool tunnel remains untouched for you. It's there, just pure and sweet, just waiting
I've
for you
touched
to.
it. I've
You've touched it
touched it.
once.
I can tell my
mate.
kids
You've
that I've
touched
touched
it. You've
it.
touched it once.
Yeah, but it's a good story. I had a nightmare and played there for another 3
Tap
years.
it again, mate. Just do
No.
it, and get it out your system.
It's that thing of kind of imposter syndrome, maybe a bit as well. I'm like, I think of the players that have touched that, and am I worthy of it? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a weird kind of thing.
It's tradition, it's heritage, and that's what I admire as well from foreign clubs, because they haven't touched their tunnels, have they? Really, some of them are real rusticy and concrete and raw.
Very quickly, have you touched it? Or
I would say, not that I remember touching it, but I would probably say off the top of my head, I probably have. To the answer to your
He's
question,
touched it.
Yes,
He's touched
it's
it.
when he was at Chelsea, I think.
If I'm honest, if the only time I would touch it was probably when I must have been at Reading, when we got promoted for the first time at Anfield. This is Anfield. little
timid one.
a little touch.
Do you think you've got to do it with proper confidence? Just got to
No.
absolutely slap it.
I think I just like touched the frame.
Yeah.
And that was it. Probably got beat 3-0.
What's the most intimidating tunnel you've ever been in?
The most intimidating tunnel. Do you know what? There was one. We played Barcelona when I was at Arsenal in their reserves. We played their centenary year, and we played in the stadium next to the new camp. Have you seen like the mini stadium?
Yeah.
So there's like 20,000 seat stadium. So our under 18s at Arsenal or under 20s at the time played there. Then we all walked over to the new camp and then watched them play. I think it was Deportivo. And it was them old-fashioned ones. You were the ones where they come out the ground.
Oh,
Like the Gladiator.
Yeah, amazing.
Like, is Lazio like that as
ones,
well?
aren't they? Yeah. Stadio
You come out,
Olimpico.
so like
That's a whole different game.
So you come out actually separate ones. So the home team come out there, and then you come out the ground. First time I've done that,
Brilliant,
that was
Brilliant,
amazing.
And it's normally upstairs, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's a lot of them. Like it's like, you know, Inter Milan's a special one. Like the San Siro, like for me was playing there was because I loved Italian football. Like to play at the San Siro, being in that tunnel, kind of like so much like underneath the stadium, and then come out like almost like a gladiator, like you say.
Awesome.
And I've been to the Colosseum, and I've been into those cages. They've redeveloped those kind of cages where the kind of lions and that used to
It's
come
the
up.
same, isn't it? It's the
Well,
same.
it feels a bit like that, and honestly, and it's like when I was in that kind of cage, I was trying to visualize what it was like to be a gladiator and going out and, you know, in that. And the San Siro feels like the Colosseum, really does. It feels the atmosphere for Inter and AC is just so intense and so it's a privilege to have
I'm
experienced.
so gutted that we'll never experience. The nearest I get is like the Sainsbury's trolley park. Occasionally, you know, you take a trolley from out the back, you know, when they're all gone, and you walk through with a bit of pride. There's one particularly long.
Is that how you're comparing walking out to the San Siro?
Well, I
taking
can
a
only
trolley
offer this
from
podcast
Tesco's
my own lived experience.
and walking through the double doors. The champions.
Yeah. There's a massive tunnel in a supermarket in Poole, and it's become a landmark in its own right, actually. So the Poole Tunnel, it's actually called the Bude Tunnel.
Yeah.
This is a tunnel at Sainsbury's.
So it's next to a Sainsbury's, and it's got its own listing on TripAdvisor.
Wow.
It's lit up like freaking Blackpool illuminations.
Yeah. So, okay, if you don't know what the Bude Tunnel is, Google this as soon as you're sort of safe to do so. Maybe you're on your way to work or something. But what it is it's a tunnel next to the Sainsbury's in Bude. So it's, the description on TripAdvisor says, the only tunnel Bude has to offer is open to the public free of charge. You can walk from Sainsbury's car park to Crooklets Road completely undercover. Protection from the elements whilst maintaining your view to the spectacular surroundings of Bude, consisting of 36 metal arches and over 70 metres long. Nowhere else in Bude can you walk this far undercover in a continuous straight line. All ages welcome.
Wow.
It's
got its own TripAdvisor. That says it all. That is amazing.
I've just got so many questions.
Yeah.
Number one, where is Bude?
So,
Bude
sort
is-
of Cornwall, is it?
Bude's
Or
quite nice.
Is it?
Bude's
Dorset?
lovely. Yeah.
Is it Dorset or Cornwall?
So I imagine
Sort of
people are travelling
southwest.
to see this tunnel.
I don't know. Maybe if you're listening to this right now and you're somewhere near the Bude Tunnel, go and take a picture and tag us in on the socials. Get me,
Yeah.
Sids and Crouchy and that, and let's
Yeah.
spread the word.
Well, why don't
and then
we go
my,
down
my
there?
dream is we go down to the Bude Tunnel. And
Do you know what? We always talked about going to Vanuatu, right? And let's be honest,
It's a pipe dream.
fucking miles
It's so
away,
far.
right?
No, the thing is, as well, we could have gone. Like, we did get invited, but jokes aside, it's something like 26 hours to get there, isn't
It's
it?
a long way.
Scheduling's
Do you know what?
tricky.
So the ambassador of Vanuatu has actually been in touch with the podcast, and he wants us to go and meet him at kind of ambassador's reception, which I'd love to have.
Yes.
Take a load of Ferrero Rochers, go down there, speak to the ambassador. That'd be a great day out. But be more realistic.
Let's go
more
to Bude.
realistic.
Bude is doable.
Bude's more doable. Do you know what I mean? We can
Let's
have a good day out there.
go to the Bude Tunnel, right? Us three, and walk through it as if we're stepping out into the greatest.
Could we record a podcast from the tunnel itself, or
You've just thrown that out there into the world. What's stopping us? Who's going to say no?
we'd be the first one to ever do it?
I'd like to know if you are in Bude and could host us, or if you are involved in the Sainsbury's next door to it. We'd like to do a podcast from the Bude Tunnel. Can you make it happen? Yeah? I mean, come on, it'd be a great day out.
Yeah, I'm game.
All right, let's round up this podcast.
Can I just want to ask, like, obviously we talked football tunnels, like all amazing. Your favourite tunnels? What would be your favourite tunnel that's non-football?
Good question.
My favourite tunnels, non-football, off the top of my head, would be probably the Dracula tunnel at Chesney World of Adventures.
Oh, it's a great
tunnel.
one.
Great tunnel.
Hey.
Tunnel.
Great
I remember
tunnel.
that
tunnel.
brings back
I'll put him on
childhood
the spot
memories.
there.
Yeah,
He's come up with a great
and you
answer.
shoot through there. Probably going on it now. I've not been on it for 10, 15 years.
it's
So
a
going
lovely
through
tunnel,
now is
mate.
probably
Yeah. That's a great one. That's a great one.
Class you are, Sids.
That's class. That was brilliant.
What about you, Crouchy?
For me personally, it's the Euro Tunnel, and
Go on.
I'll tell you why. You know, they built that thing underwater. It's underwater, right?
Yeah.
And
Which raises questions in itself, doesn't it? How the fuck do you start
how
doing
have they
that?
built it? Number one, and I know it cost a lot of money, you know, but now we can get to France from King's Cross, St Pancras. You know, if you can get to Brussels, you know,
Yeah,
Everywhere.
yeah, lovely.
you know, and you're flying through a tunnel.
And do you remember when that was done? I remember when they literally done the last hole from
What do you
England.
mean the last hole?
Well, they built it from England.
What do you mean the last hole?
When it finally came out, at the
They
end,
would have dug
like
the
El
tunnel all the
Chapo.
way through. Oh, do you mean where they met in the middle?
They met in the middle. That's what I'm saying. So they
Did
started.
they actually do it
So
like
they
that?
started from England and they started from France. They met in the middle of the channel, in the middle of the sea. Sorry, and in the last little circle, and they just put their hands through and they just shook hands.
So that was the first
Yeah.
European glory
Yeah.
hole in
So-
some ways, wasn't it? It was. Are you saying there was a point where there was just this one,
Yeah.
and all anyone did was put a hand through?
and it was a.
Can you imagine you're on the other end? Can you imagine you're on the other end of this, and all you see is like, and whose hand was it? Steve?
It was an English
Any English hand?
construction worker with a French
We
construction
didn't
worker.
send a
Just-
celebrity in for that.
Bex would have been there.
Yeah. quickly, what did they
If
do?
you actually did Bex and Zidane, right? Imagine you had Zidane one end and Bex the other, and they went,
Great shout.
the tunnel is finished.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
So it was
What a
like,
tunnel.
So it was a handshake, was it? In the middle of the Eurotunnel?
Handshake in the middle of the Eurotunnel. I remember watching it was live.
You
And then
gotta
they cut
remember.
it out, did they? Just
And
that
then
last
they done
little
the
bit?
gear, they got the bigger machines in and they done it out and then they
Little kiss?
I think there probably was a double
two-
kiss. It must have been a double kiss.
Double cheek.
Yeah, double kiss.
Incredible. That's what I'm saying. Like, we are, English people, meeting the French for the first time.
No,
in a
meeting the French for the first time. No, they weren't a foreign species that we
They are a
had.
foreign species, you know what I'm saying? When I say first time, I'm saying like without flying or boating, we're training now.
Yeah.
We're going on a train. We're,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
And
That's
at
why
some point, an Englishman and a Frenchman
met.
hands went through a hole.
Yeah.
You're telling me, Sid?
Yeah,
Because I am going to look this up.
we can get this.
Two hands went through a hole and
Yeah.
shook hands. and that was a moment, was
Yeah,
it?
it was
That was a moment.
Fucking hell. We're so lame as a species, aren't we?
Unbelievable.
All we could do is that, and that happened.
Yeah.
No
I wonder if that
handshake.
happened with the Bude tunnel.
Yeah. Well, I think we need a proper ceremony from the Bude tunnel. Like, that needs to be our next one.
What, someone from the other, what's the road you said?
Let me just quickly
There's a
check the
road.
geography on it. Oh, yeah. Great idea, Crouchy. You're
Someone
right.
who was born on Clackett Road or something?
Crooklets Road.
Crooklets Road, right? If you're from Crooklets Road, right? And Bude.
I want Mr. Sainsbury's
Yeah.
and someone from Crooklets Road to meet in the middle and have a handshake.
Have a handshake. And then
I want one of the Sainsbury's dynasty, like a child of Sainsbury's.
Frank Sainsbury's.
To me, yeah.
What's his name? Is it Frank?
Well, I assume it'll be like grandkids now, won't it? Probably. So, like a great grandchild of the original Sainsbury's, like a family, someone from the dynasty,
Yeah.
and someone from Crooklets Road, if you're listening, to meet in the middle
Live
of
on
Bude
Crooklets
Tunnel.
Road.
We can make this happen. If anything can make this
The worst
happen,
thing is we can.
it's this podcast.
All right, we've got to wrap this up. We've been kicked out of here. Great podcast.
Really enjoyed it. Actually, bizarrely, sometimes you think we'll do stuff on tunnels and you never know where it's going to go.
No.
I've learned stuff today. I've learned about Bude. Didn't know it existed.
John got Desmond.
Desmond.
He's got- he learned
Hopefully, I'll have not a politics degree, but a degree in barbecuing before too long. And if you are a footballer listening and you don't play for Liverpool, get away from the Liverpool sign. Chumbawamba, everyone.
Yeah, Chumbawamba.